And I'm really happy that you're showing this interest. I guess when I was trying to prepare the presentation, I was trying to figure out, is this going to be sort of the beginner? I'm not sure how many people actually use QlikView, or probably even heard of QlikView, right? So I think I gathered from a few that you probably heard the name but probably never used it before. And of course, you probably heard of Tableau and many of the other solutions out there. So what I'm going to do today is take you through the QlikView side of the house. Qlik is a company right now. They have competing with the train. We're going to talk about QlikView. They, as a company, they offer two products at the moment: QlikView and QlikSense. And QlikSense is their new product that is more for business users, that allows them to quickly create visualization like Tableau, and it's actually free and collaborate with a lot of people. So QlikSense is that new product. QlikView is what I'm going to use and discuss today. And again, please interrupt me as we go along, because again, I don't know what level of your knowledge of the business intelligence side or the whole QlikView side. So just stop me as I go along. The first thing I want to talk about, I guess I have to click all the way through. The first part of this, I stole this slide from Qlik, the company. I'll just put the whole thing up. Is that in the data discovery side of the house, you're going to basically see, this is like we were talking about the journey, right? The whole journey. Most people, when we talk about visualization, we're talking about some sort of reporting, whether it's Cognos, whether it's this. You're going to be in this space right here, to create what's happening, what's going on, kind of thing. So we see a lot of those tools. You can do that in Excel as well. In Excel, you can run reports and show what's happening. You can run business object report, what's happening. Again, what's happening. And those are what we call descriptive analytics. Describe again what's happening, where, and when. The next part of this so-called data discovery is very important. Is that now that you look at what's going on, can you dig deeper and understand why is it happening? Can you click it? Can you drill? Can you dig deeper into the data to understand why is it happening? If my sales not meeting target, why? What's going on? It's always the next question that people is always asking. It's nice to have a nice chart, nice graph, but that's only the first level of your data discovery. You want to go one step further. And I think that's what Qlik does very well, is allowing you to answer those questions in a matter of seconds. Not you have to run another report, run another query, it'll take you another X number of time, and it's too much time. But this is the technology itself is in memory, so it's going to be much quicker. And then finally, now that you know what's going on, why is it? What's going to be next? I think that's sort of the one that you want to get to is what's going to happen next. Can you proactively predict what's going on? It's like when you go on the Amazon website, right? They already know based upon what like products or Netflix. They already know you are going to like this, or you're going to potentially buy this. Predicting is the next step forward. So today I'm going to try to talk to you about this space over here, and then at some point down the road, I'm actually involved with another project right now with the hospitality space to help them predict from the guest perspective when they're going to book a hotel and so on. But right now, it's we're going to go through this part of the journey. Does that make sense for everybody? I think that's an important aspect of data discovery that you need to know. It's not just about what's happening, nice pretty graph, and I was going to show you some of that. I mean, and you see this before. I mean, here it is, a sales trend, nice, okay. I see a sales trend over time. I see a graph about, top salespeople, nice. But you can do that in Excel, you can do that in Business Object, you can do that in any of the reporting you see before. Another, here's my sales location. The bigger the circle, the bigger the sales. Again, nice. Does it tell me anything more? I try to give a different example of different departments. So this one's Hockey Help Desk. You have a nice fancy graph. Nice fancy dashboard with different cases and know, whatever the case might be, resolution time. Again, nice. What can you do with that? Plant operations. You know, some of you guys are involved in the plant. You know, you have costs, you have scrap, you may have a lot of different things going on. So here, wouldn't it be nice? You know, this is a nice graph, right? Nice report. But wouldn't it be nice to be able to click and to understand why? What's causing that scrap? I want to answer right now. I don't want to wait. Go back to the BI analyst and say, can you run me another report about this graph? No. I want an answer now. Can I ask the next question and click and get my answer? And I'll show you that in a second. Same here. I have my customers, you know, in the map. I see sales quantity, but I see sales margin that are way below. Once again, why? Can I click and now get me to the answer, dig a little deeper to understand why? I'll walk you through that example as well. I got for some other example. This is drug safety from the FDA. We got the data from, you know, they got the data from the FDA about incident rate, you know, different drugs and having a fatality. Again, if you were a curious person, you would say, well, can I click on fatality, or can I click on that to understand which drug is causing the most fatality, and so on. But again, it's wanting the curiosity of wanting to know the next question. The first graph is nice, but it's the next question and the next several questions that you want. Customer service, same thing. We did this one, a simple one for a call center. They get a lot of requests in, and again, wouldn't it be nice to find out? You know, I get 1/3 of my calls are just part numbers. Okay, which product? You know, which call, so that I can maybe post it on a site for them to search for themselves, part number. Because every time they call in, it costs money to have a call center person to sit there and look through the book and answer the question, right? So by having this kind of drill and understanding, you're able to, you know, to hopefully improve the business process. Same thing here, call center. You know, the red means, you know, I'm over the time. Why? DoD budget. You know, that have another example there too. I'm overspent, right? The Army, the Air Force, and a lot of it's in construction. Why? You know, why? All these things. Why? So I'm going to walk you some of these examples, and then I'm going to end up with the hospitality space. But QlikView, in terms of infrastructure, I can summarize it in two ways. One is in associative properties, and the other is in memory. So the data is all pulled in memory. So that's why it's going to allow you to answer that question a lot faster. You don't have to go back and query the database and wait for a long time. And the other is the associated property. And I'll give you an example of why how that works. Associative property, it's not the old, you know, relational, the way that you think about the database. Is at all points you can ask the question any which way you want to ask it, and it will get you the right answer. Let me walk you some examples of that so you can see how that associated property works. Wow, really shrinking down a lot. You have to change resolution all of a sudden. That's really strange. Really shrinking down. Wow. I missed the name to school resolutions. That's right.
They just be extending the desktop.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm extending it. So let me see if I can get one. Okay, screen resolution again. Let me multiple display to say duplicate.
That looks like winner.
Okay, all right. Hopefully I can see everything there. It's still very small for some reason.
I think you can zoom in once you get started.
Yeah, let me try it again. Yeah, it's still very small. Let me try one more time to make the screen a little bit bigger so you can see. Okay. One more time. The first time was so small. This one is better, but not quite there. So I think I had that.
That's better?
Okay, good. Okay, so this is an example of, if I'm in any way, sorry about that, example of how traditional OLAP, that you work. I mean, this is an example of a movie database, how you search for a movie director. Let's say you search for, for instance, Francis Ford Coppola. And then after you search for that, you go in and you say, you know what, I love The Godfather, and I want to look for, an actor in it, Al Pacino. So you go one by one, you go from a traditional top-down sort of a linear kind of question, right? But what if you don't want that kind of linear question? You want to ask, you want to jump wherever you want to jump. You want to say, Al Pacino starred in what movie? Or you want to say, who directed this? A QlikView model in the Associative, if you see the way that the architecture is down here, you can start from anywhere you want to start. So I picked it here because I said, okay, I want to see this. But what if I don't want to? I could just pick Al Pacino, and right away it told me that Al Pacino with Francis Ford Coppola starred in 3 movies. Or he stars in all of these movies with these directors. So the point here is that the associative property is that you can ask a question from anywhere. It doesn't have to be from like in this example, director to title to actor. And you can't, if you want to know more about Al Pacino, you have to go back and do another query. No. You just click on it, and it associates the right movies, the right title to the right director to him, and so on. That's an example of what I mean by the associative property. Now, so let me go in and show you the plant operation that I showed you earlier. So wouldn't it be nice that if you have in a plant that you're running, right? You're running and you have scraps and you have all the costs and so on. And as I showed earlier, I have different branch, and in my dashboard, it shows, you know what? You're red, you're over the target 20%, and the target is 17%. Now I want to know more. I want to know what happened, right? I mean, you can't just look at the graph and say that's it. You want to know why, what happened. So in my case, I can go into scrap, and I can look and say, you know what? Look like the biggest scrap is my custom order. I can go in there and do that, and then I can go down to see a different collection of custom order and say, you know what? I can see here that I have a lot of, obviously I program it so that it goes over a certain percentage. It's going to be red, highlighted red. So in this case, I'm going to go on this right here because I see that it is, let's say, 40-something%. And then I can go down and say each one of these item number for this custom order, it has a lot of scrap here. This one has 80-something%, but a pretty small number of scrap, only 400-something. But you know what though? Look at this one. This one has 98% of scrap, 11,000 rolls. It translates a lot of money right there. So I can click on it and then go into my cost and look at my machine. I can then see the operations. This particular operation is the one that generates the most scrap. This operation relates to a machine, relates to a shift. So now I have more data, right, to go after, to go talk to the director of operations or the supervisor to say, hey, this particular machine and shift generated a lot of scrap. that drill down and I don't have to wait to do any kind of query. I just drill, click, 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 answer questions as I go along. So that's an example of a drill through that I'm talking about. Now we can do the same thing with others. If I was, to clear it out, and I go back to my dashboard and look at cost, my cost is overrun. I can go to my open orders and say, you know what, each one of these represent machines. I can say, hey, you know what, this machine 1344 seems like highest cost. Why is that? Same thing. You can go through and, the good thing about searching here is that it automatically search all everywhere in terms of all the field. You can look at that machine specifically. You can go back and look at the cost. You can see which order, it's the one that is causing the most highest cost, and so on. So the point here again, I don't want to belabor this particular example, but it is about answering the next question, the next question, and the next question. And that's what QlikView does in its associative property. It allows you to not only have the nice visualization, but click and ask the next question. That's one example. Let me go to the next example. In this case, it is on customer. As I was telling you earlier, let's say this is a holding on sales rep and products and so on. I'm let's say I'm the Northeast sales manager. I come in, I want to look at my guys, my customers and so on, and I click on it and I said, that's interesting. Let me look at 2011 because I'm assuming this is current year. So I looked at it and I said, you know what? My margin for my 2 customers is negative. Why is that? So I can go in and click on those 2 guys, look at them specifically. I may even drill into one of them because it says, you know what? I have more invoices here, so maybe I want to look at EDS and see who the sales guy is relating to this particular customer. And I go in and I say, oh, it's Edward Lachek. Okay. Let me look at Edward and see what's going on. What products he's selling, what is going on. And then I can drill through my product and say, oh, the like vegetables is the thing that is causing us the lowest margin. So let me drill into the vegetables that Edward is running and see what's going on. And then I can go to my report, pull up my product report and say, it looks like it's not across all vegetables, it's on some. Interesting. So maybe I want to look at specific item and see what's going on with that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on those items and look at my sales. And then when I look at my sales, my item number, I can see that, oh, you know what? When he's making sales, his margin is pretty good. It's when he's not making sales. So what he's doing is giving out samples. You see how that drill through is helping you to understand the why of what's going on? So in this case, I was able to drill through this whole data and then just able to now pinpoint the fact that, you know what? It looks like when he's not making sales, it's when I have this problem. It looks like, and I know that it's probably giving out samples, and that's what's causing it. And I can go back and say, you know what? He works for John Gregg. You know what? He works for Virginia, so maybe I need to go talk to his supervisors about how he's doing it. And I may have other questions. I may have a question like, does he do this for all customers? That's another good question too, right? I mean, you may say, you know what? Maybe he does this for all customers. Well, you can uncheck EDS and say, you know what? He doesn't. All the other customers that he has is pretty good. It's only this guy, right? So again, these are the kind of insights. That's what it is, right? It's about insights that you get from this click, 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 click through. And really, it's when you're sitting down with managers and so on, because they tend to have these kind of questions. And that'll allow you to very quickly click and answer the question. So that's level. So this is the final, before I go into the hospitality space. This one right here was, again, customer service. They taking calls from dealers, doctors, and sales reps and so on. But again, as I've shown you before, out of 20,000, 30,000 calls, 1/3 of it is dealing with part numbers. And they spent so many minutes and hours when you add it up to all those times just answering part numbers. So by having this kind of ability, I can click on it, all the data. You see that? As soon as you click on that, all the associated data changes. So we know which product they're interested in. So we know which product, we know which, these are call queues. So we know that all the part numbers belong to these products. So now they can go back and now post those part numbers online so they don't have to call them anymore. The same thing with troubleshooting. Look at the second biggest is troubleshooting. Now, wouldn't you want to know which product that's associated with? So as soon as you click on that, troubleshooting, now these products start to show up. So now you can go back to the product design group, the team, and say, hey, these are the kind of issues people are calling about troubleshooting relating to these products. Let's go ahead and try to FAQs or redesign or do something. This was actually a very quick project, and they have found to be extremely useful. Very simple, by the way. But again, click, click, click. Without anybody involved, you don't need IT guys involved. This is just one time, pull the data in, and now the business user is running with it. That's it. Okay. You get a general sense of the idea of what I mean by the click, click, click through. And so that's the drill through. Excuse me, I gotta say. So with the next couple of items, what I'm going to try to do is talk to you about what I'm doing with the hotel industry. Unfortunately, I had to dummy up a lot of stuff. I was also told that I can't show all the things that they want to work on. So my clients being, so their wishes, I have to kind of adhere to their wishes, right? So I try to make up a lot of funny data, but you kind of get the point. This first one was that it's about operational side of the house. The second one is more about revenue. That one is more interesting. Actually, that one's in the work still, but I'll just show you what I have so far. The first one is it's just that they don't track guest requests. And you'd be very surprised. Half the hotel that you stay in, it's going to be on manual paper. So when you call now, and we have called about 300 hotels in Florida, just do a sample size. Sure enough, that's right. Half of them are on some sort of system, the other half is on manual paper. So the next time you stay in a hotel, all you gotta do is, you can ask to call and ask them where you logged it in. It's on a piece of paper. It's very sad. In this day and age, the Hilton, the Marriott, all of them do the same. So they all log on a piece of paper, and then what they do is they have binders of them. At the end of the month, they have binders, and it's just, think about it. How do you analyze that? How do you analyze that information? You can't. You can't. So one of the Hilton, it was a friend of mine who called me and said, can you do this for us? So we developed the website, the mobile, everything together. And in the back, we put in this clipboard for them to analyze the data. And it's a very simple process, but, and I'm going to show you just a makeup stuff. This is not their data, but it's actually some, test data, right? So in the end, what we could do is that we pull together all the requests together with the survey of guest satisfaction, the quality of service, operational data, and so on. But again, the same through the same kind of thing you can do. If you see, obviously this is a satisfaction, so, why am I getting, which department is getting a low score? I can see the department. What was the task? So you see the drill through the process is that you'll allow to understand what's going on. Again, this is sample data, but it's not far-fetched, by the way, because actually the Hilton that I was working with, actually guess what the number one problem is? Guess what the number one problem? What's the number one complaint? What do you think it is? And it ends up there, but it actually was TV. TV was the number one issue, and in this particular Hilton, they kind of had an idea that was the case, but until they had the data, they now can go back to the owners and say, look at all the guest complaints about all the TV, and they're able to get the owner to forego some money to change out all those TVs. And that was as of 2014. 2015, extremely low issues with guests. Beautiful, right? Guest satisfaction improved. But anyway, that's the whole idea is that to understand what you have, allow you to drill through, so you can actually see by day, you can drill through to the maintenance group, air conditioning is noisy. Again, you can see, answer the next question by clicking through. And that's the whole idea behind this whole process. You can understand, how many Are they ready to guest? Internet does not work. Does it belong? Are there certain rooms that have more issues than others? And you may think that that may not be an issue, but in that same Hilton, after I analyzed the data over 6 months, in a 2-week period, what we saw was that there were 10 requests relating to repair or fixing of toilets. So you have to ask yourself, what's going on in that room? That there's 10 requests in the span of 2 weeks. But no, I mean, it was very interesting because, again, it was insights that they didn't have before, right? And so they're going to try to address it with their maintenance guys. Because maybe he went in and pressed something very quick and didn't realize there was a deeper issue that he needs to do, right? But again, it affects guest satisfaction because every time a guest, toilet's leaking or something's not working, somebody's going to get mad. And if I get mad, I mean, if I have a bad comment on TripAdvisor, and the next thing you know, people will come. So all those has implications. And so, again, these are insights that they're now able to sit there and they get a daily report anyway, but on a monthly basis, they sit down together and they just kind of see what's going on, what are the trends, and it allows them to see any insights. So that's the first thing that we're working on. The second one that I'm actually in the middle of right now is for a hotel that they want to work on the revenue management side, which is really more interesting. It's to really understand there's a lot of complex. This one is more challenging and more complex questions. Questions like, you know what? I want to know. They call it the pace. I don't know if you guys know the pace report, but I want to know how am I doing versus last year for different periods. So let's say my holiday season is in the Christmas time frame to the New Year, and that's one of the highest rate and highest occupancy. Well, I want to know, as of right now, in June 3rd, how am I doing compared to the same day, not the same June 3rd, but the same day of the week previously, and then as I progress toward, each month toward my December date, how much am I picking up? Am I on pace? Yes or no? That's one question. The other question involved, travel agency, because again, they work with travel agency. They want to know, which travel agency is supplying me with customers for luxury hotels versus villa. For which day of the week? I mean, they have so many different questions, but can you imagine sitting down and say, let me run another query, let me run another report? No, they want to answer right now. So you start to put together this idea of answering questions for them. Now, forget the display for a moment. The data is all there, so I'm able to now get involved into this thing and start asking questions like, again, like I said, December of that year, I'm looking at the 21st to the 31st, and this is this year, this is last year. Can I see, can I see how am I doing? These are my revenues. So I can quickly say, you know what? Why am I below revenue? Room revenue here, last year, by this time, I'm way up there. So what's going on? When my room sold is 322, I'm way ahead of the room sold, but look at my rate per night. Whoa, what's going on there? Right? I made up some of this data, but you get the point. But some of this, it's true, by the way. I mean, the numbers may not be thousands of dollars, it's similar. In the idea that what's happening is that they're as of yesterday, they were very happy that there was a lot of rooms sold, but the revenue was down so low because the room nights, the charge per night is very low. So that's, again, insight, discovery, that it was difficult on spreadsheets before because they had so many different spreadsheets. And it's very difficult to look up this and that. I mean, it's a mind-boggling how many spreadsheets they have in understanding this one issue that they're trying to go after. I mean, they could go after others as well, like in this case, dealing with top travel agencies and understanding which one is doing, which one is selling me by day versus by room type. You can go on and on with all kinds of questions. They have so many different questions that you want to be able to build a tool that allows them to, as I just did, click, click, answer. Next question, click, click, answer. That's the idea. Okay. So, data discovery. The data discovery journey, again, I think that in my experience, the different organizations, they go through that whole journey. You can't jump to analytics, the so-called the why, unless you have the reporting, because you got to know what's going on first. You can't go to predictive, you can't run before you got to walk first, you know. So you need to go through that whole journey. You need to ask yourself in your organization, whatever data challenges you have, is that do you even have the dashboard to understand what is going on? Am I meeting my target in sales? And you know, in the case of manufacturing, there are always budget, target, or something that you're trying to meet. You know, and am I meeting those? The what? And then getting to the next question with QlikView, that's help you to understand the why. Are you able to do that with the tools that you have in-house right now? Now, there are many tools. QlikView is one of them. And I find it, you know, simple to click through and understand the why of it all. So that's what you have to ask yourself in your workplace, is that after the what that's going on, can I understand the why? And then maybe after all that, if I get really good, I can understand what's going to happen next. And we're going to talk about that another time. I don't want to bore you with that today, but yes, I mean, you can do some predictive as well. Okay. QlikView does that. It does the whole gamut of it. Its associative memory architecture also allows you to do things very quickly. That's really all I have. I didn't want to take a whole lot of time, so questions. I know you guys are very quiet. Go ahead, please.
Does it expect any sort of requirement
You know what? Yes, I think that at the end of the day, I mean, you want to have your data normalized, but it does allow. The way it works is that you can take in data from all different sources. So, for example, I have sales data, and then you and I know that a lot of sales guys, they do their budget by spreadsheet. the sales manager, they always have a spreadsheet, so you can pull it in. But because of the way that the QlikView architecture is, you can say, you know what, this links to this. They link it by a field. If you call it the same name, QlikView will know it's linked by the same field. But you want to normalize the data, yes, because if you go back to the one example I had earlier about this issue right here, the reason why this is so different or so low on the rate, and I found out, was because all of these the call centers, the agents, haven't input all of the rates in there yet. So that's why that allows me to say, okay, they didn't put all the rates in there, so the system didn't capture that, so I have to create another exception that says, okay, let's just do the averages on those that have the rates so we can see how close we are. So yes, you need to look at, but you know, QlikView actually brings out any of those anomalies. You can see it right away. You can see, oh, this one doesn't have all the matching data. And maybe you want to see that. Maybe you want to see it. You don't have to do all the normalization up front.
So, Phung, if you pulled this data mostly from individual spreadsheets, you tied it to DBs, both?
All of it.
This looks fabulous.
Yeah.
But I get this suspicion. I have the suspicion that it takes a lot of time to develop.
Not at all. Not at all. Maybe
How does that go from the data source being a spreadsheet or a DB to something nice and pretty like this?
It's actually very fast. I mean, they have, what I want to mention is that before we started, I just wanted to go here and just let you see. Qlik now actually have two products. One is called QlikView and QlikSense. QlikSense, as I said earlier, is actually they developed it to be more in competition with the Tableau of the world, which is you can allow people to very quickly add data and start visualizing. If that's what you want, you can get it very easy with QlikSense. And QlikSense, you can actually, by the way, these two products are free. QlikView and QlikSense, you can download it and use it. The QlikView, the only time that it becomes a problem or money-wise is that you can't share it from a QlikView perspective. But you can, all you're doing is analyzing on your desktop, it's free. just download it. It's full functionality. You can use it at will. But you can't take what you have and share with somebody else unless you pay for the license. QlikSense, you can't. QlikSense is up to 5 people this summer. So you can actually develop it, put it on the cloud, people can look at it, annotate it together, and it's a very good offering that's going on there.
So what are the data inputs about these?
Data can go any kind of source. Again, that I was going to show you how it works very easily. The data can be from, like you said, Excel spreadsheet, any different table, text format, a comma delimited to any database sources. They have connectors, so if you work in SAP, they already have connector to these ERP systems. They don't have to know what table, what field. No, they already have it. So you just apply the connector, and they already pull out the right information for you. So let me show an example real quick. We asked how easy it is. So let me show an example how easy are we talking about to actually pull the data in and actually show the data right away. So let me do that right now so that you can see how easy it is. In both Qlik and in QlikView and QlikSense. So let me grab a data source so I can see an example of some content. So I'm going to grab the sales order, which has some data in there already, right? No, I know where it is now. It's in here. Let me put it in easier place so I can see it. I'm just going to put it in the document. Okay, so now I'm going to go in. So I'm going to go new. I'm just going to go in, and this is QlikView, and I'll show you QlikSense. It's how easy it is. I'm going to grab a table. So this is only so you can connect by database or by any of the web file, field file, QlikView file, anywhere that you want to do. So I'm going to go into, I believe I put in fully document. Right. So I'm going to go down to sales. Boom. Open. It pulls up and it says, is this the table? Is this the label? Yes, 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 yes. Finish. And then that's it. Load. And I have to give a name, so I have to give it a name. So test. So, something happened. So you cannot find the specified file. Okay, I'm in the wrong place. So let me put it in the right place. Sorry. Let me give it a name where I'm gonna actually in the same place, right? So save as. I'm in documents. Test. And I have a file already. Make sure that. That's it. So now I have all the data. I can easily create a table with all those fields. Boom, table is done. I can create a chart. Very simple. If I go in there, I select a chart. A chart. What kind of chart? Let's say a bar chart. And I want to do by customer, right? By customer. And I want to sum the what was it? The sales, or what was it? The quantity, or so I can't remember. What was the sales? Right? Sum the sales. Sum the sales. But you can do it down here too. I mean, it allows you to. If you don't know how to use the word sum, you just say, tell me how to add it up. Sum the sales. Done, done, done. And boom. Right. Now this is obviously you want to format it because there's a lot of customers. So I want to say, you know what? Just give me the largest 10 guys, yeah, don't put any what do you call them? In my general, I don't want to see any title of my chart. Boom. Let me sort it by top down. So again, it's a lot of power, right? But you wanna just it's all there. You just gotta click on every tab and then do it. So here's my anyway. The point is I can do a chart very easily, and apparently these guys are very small, and this one guy, let me turn it off here. I don't want to show anybody else. There you go. So these are the now it's formatting. Now it's just formatting.
This would work for static data, but if I've got data that's constantly being loaded on the DB,
yeah,
a load operation needs to take place before. Okay.
Yeah. So the way that we do this is that the architecture allows you to do different. So QlikView has a big different architecture whereby initially you load it into their architecture and their database, proprietary database called QEDs. It's actually a lot faster when you load it in there and it's compressed the data It actually, I forgot the load time, but it's extremely fast. You can do it with millions of rows very quickly in their proprietary database. So what we do on the sales is that we take all the data at night, we create these so-called QEDs for proprietary, data mart, you want to compare, right? Yeah. So you have all those, and then your application will consume them, and that's it. And if you want to load more often, then you have there's an engine in the back that allows you to do preloading in the back, so that you don't have to sit there and wait for the data. It actually preload from the database that it presents to you, whether you do it 4 times a day, 5 times a day, whatever the case is, right?
So there's an operation. You've got an idea of what you're going to want to analyze. You're constructing your query, select the data points that you think you'll need, you load it into this, and then it gets you the flexibility.
Yeah, and now it's all in memory. It's all in memory. When the user is using it, it's all in memory when it brings it up. And so it's very fast. Well, you just saw it. I mean, I just went through, and actually I just did a demo recently. I just went to a conference of this, and they demoed the big data, and 1 billion something rows of records within 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Like loading or?
No, analyzing. Yeah.
But those are pre-canned reports that they already had.
No, they just load the data. They just did the demo for us. They load the data in, and we asked the question, and he clicks, and boom, the thing was, because of the way that they did the indexing and so on. It's very well. I mean, that's this new startup just show how together with QlikView they did that. So
if you're going to run something like this in a production environment, you know ahead of time you're going to have 2 billion points of data. You know, what kind of server hardware you're looking at to run this thing?
Well, so far, what we have is, remember, it's in memory, it's a lot of memory side. So it's a lot of memory. I would say that it depends on the application you're running. I just finished a deployment at Checkpoint System. They make all the security RFIDs and the DNC they store. Anyway, they have loaded for North America, all around the world. And this server was they had 1 server. I didn't like it. I told them you should move to a 2 server. But they had 1 server for test and production. And it was 8 gigs of RAM.
So the specifics of the back-end proprietary database of this, does it lend itself yet to being run efficiently for large DBs on VMware, or is it still relegated to this hosts? Or do you know?
Say that one more time again.
So so this runs its own proprietary database on the back-end.
Yeah. It's just a file. It's just a file.
I know, but how well does it run on VMware?
It does. The last time, I mean, I run my application right now on VMware. All of my stuff is in Amazon for large DBs.
Yes. Be a problem. Most of the time when you're going to get performance come back on VMware or virtualized machine anywhere is when you're reading on disk, because that's going to have a virtual driver which talks to a hypervisor which talks to a real driver which talks to a disk.
Database.
Once you're in memory, it's whether you're virtualized or not, it's going to be fine.
Question? Yeah, I think you had fine.
You can answer it, so.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Anybody else have any question? Anything that you're dealing with in your environment, data-wise, that you want to?
No question, actually. So, you have a large database, right?
Yes.
At some point, you need to create a model as to how these tables relate to each other.
Yes.
How does that get done?
Yeah, in QlikView, it relates to each other. Very simple is the name, the field name.
What if the field names are different?
And you would have to make sure that it is the same. And then you would have to alias it and say, okay, this you call it salesperson over here, I call it sales rep. Okay, let's pick one and call. When I pull this table in, I'm going to say salesperson as sales rep.
But you don't have to rename the table or the column. You can just do it on the fly.
You can all do it on the fly. You can do it on the fly. Yeah, all in QlikView. Yeah. You pull it in and you just say, I want to make this table by this table. Yeah, sorry.
What was the difference again between QlikView and QlikSense?
QlikSense is their new. QlikSense is their new platform. It's here it is. Let me pull it up. QlikSense is a new platform that is more geared toward business users or users that just want a lot easy visualization. So you can very easily create any visualization with QlikSense. It's all hosted in the cloud. You can host it in the cloud. It's all device agnostic. So this is more, I would say that the QlikSense together with QlikView plays very well, because with QlikView, I want to be able to sit there and do a lot of clicking and drilling and all understanding. With QlikSense, what I can do is have very nice dashboards that I can look at any device. Yeah, very good, very user friendly, and as I mentioned earlier, right now you can use it for free with five of your friends, right? So the QlikSense, again, same idea. You can have, and I pull up any of these, let's say executive dashboard. But again, it has a lot of different, you can do any kind of metrics. I mean, all these, by the way, you can still click. If you click on any of these things, all the other stuff is changed accordingly. It's all the same. It's all the same thing that we talked about before. I can choose. I'm sorry. No problem. Yeah, I mean, I can choose to look at these group. I can choose to look at this only. There's a lot of different ways that you can look at the data.
So
it's like Tableau, like a Tableau. It's a competing product to Tableau. That's what it is.
What you said, sort of the QlikView, the QlikSense is really more towards, it's lighter, it's easier, it's faster to get the visualization, but less heavy on the analytics.
That's right. That's the way I use it.
QlikView is really heavy on the data mining, data analytics.
Yes.
That requires more development.
Yeah, no, it requires a little more development, but it allows you to have that insight that you may not be able to see with just, okay, now I see this, but I'm going to ask the next level of questions.
Depends on need. Depends on what you really need.
Yeah, what do you need, exactly. What do you need? That's why they create these two different products, to sort of depend on what is it that you're looking to do.
So is it safe to say that QlikSense has some limited data mining capabilities, or is it just visualization?
I would say that it's, they just came out with this, so I would imagine they're going to continue improving this product. Right now, it's a lot of visualization. You can do some understanding, if you want to call it that way, because it does. You can click on these things right here. So if I click on this, I mean, I can actually do some drill through already. But again, and then also the other nice part is that it is designed so that I can, it's formatted to any device I want. So it automatically reformat itself. You look at this on a cell phone or a tablet, it will look just fine. So whatever you develop on here will look just fine on the tablet or whatever.
So to clarify one thing on your question, that's about data mining. So by definition, industry standard definition, there is a difference between data analytics and data mining. So data analytics really means that I know what my question is. I'm going to go find the answer. Whereas data mining, I'm not even sure what the question is. I'm going to go mine the data, we'll figure out what the question is. Then I'll go do the analytics to get the answer. So with QlikSense, to me, it looks like it's really, I kind of know what answers I'm looking for. This is more like my key KPIs, my key performance indicators. I want to see my dashboard with all my widgets, and I can go see my sales for the quarter and things like that. Those are all questions I know, and this is giving me the answers. Whereas data mining is more like, I want to do some exploratory work, but I don't know the question yet. Let me see what's there. Then I can start asking questions.
Yeah, like the one I showed in the hotels. We don't know all the issues yet, the revenue management. It allows us to see, which travel agent, like I said, there'll be a lot of questions. Which travel agent is giving us the best return on holidays, or versus kind of rooms, or these are all kinds of questions you don't know yet until you mine it. You have to go through and look at it.
And at what point do you determine causation versus correlation?
That is part of the analysis process.
Yes.
That is digging through the data. The point of these tools is to give you those cross slices and different views so you can do this. There's only so much a tool can do. It's kind of like whatever value the data is coming in, they can give you that value, garbage in, garbage out, right? So but it's only going to be as good as the data you put into it. But it's going to give you different views, different slices, and it's going to be up to the business person or the analyst to know how they're going to put these. They kind of need to know, okay, it gives me the insight. Step one, I see this piece of insight. All right, that prompts another question. Go find the next piece of insight. And then you chain those together. So this is a tool to get you there. So those pieces of it, you know your business the best. I mean, you know what you need, you know what you're missing, and that's what these tools are going to give you. You have the data, unlock the value that the data is holding, and this is the tool to bring it to you.
Basically, you have the data right away to make a decision.
Say that again?
You have right away the data in order to make a decision.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to get to that point to make some decisions.
You have to train all the time to the process to make a decision.
Absolutely. So basically, you're taking, the steps are you take your data, which is raw data, which quite frankly, in all honesty, is useless. You take data and you transform it into information, and then from that information, you can create knowledge. Knowledge, you can make decisions. And that's what these tools is to take data, transform it into information. That next step of turning it into knowledge is really on the person looking at it, so they know what they're looking at.
So if you were starting to analyze a data set, where would you start? With QlikView or QlikSense?
That depends on what you need.
So
if
If you're looking for some relationships.
okay, if you're doing exploratory,
Yes.
and you're not really sure where to start,
Yeah.
I would start with QlikView. Because from that standpoint, you're at least bringing the data to the front, start seeing those associations, and they go, okay, I see this and this, let's bring it together, build a new way, and it connects you to the next piece of insight. Once you start to get a bigger view, then you go, okay, I see all these pieces, this is what I want to see on a regular basis, and then you build up your dashboard.
And that's where you would use QlikSense.
You can use
If you already
QlikView as
paid
well.
for QlikView at that point, you might as well use QlikView.
Yeah, the data, the QlikSense, they use once you build the information on QlikView, you can use the same QlikSense and use pull the same data in a different GUI, if you want to call it that way. It can be done that way as well. The QlikSense is nice, like I said, you can view it on the mobile and the data looks good. You can basically, it's not, QlikView is very difficult to view on a mobile, and it's not meant to be that way.
What about on a tablet?
On a tablet, you can do it, but think about the data that I just showed you. It's very, data intensive, so it's kind of difficult to do that on a small little device. But QlikSense, you can get a KPI, you can get your dashboard, you can get your things very easily viewed to make your selections. But they play well together. I do. They play well together.
Question. So let's say you QlikView, right?
Yeah.
You're going through the interactive process of looking at data, find a view that you like, right? And this view you want to look at it in the future as well. And it feeds that pane.
Yeah.
Sort of save
It's
it
called
and-
bookmark.
You can bookmark.
Yeah, you bookmark it, and basically they can do collaboration also. So with QlikView or QlikSense, the collaboration is that you can bookmark it and then annotate it, and then basically, for example, if I'm a sales VP, I'm looking at it and say, hey, you know what, I circled this area and I said, I can bookmark this, and then I can say, team, why is this product sale down? And then when the other team member log in, they'll see that bookmark and the comments, and they'll be able to start from there. Yeah, so interactive in that way. Yeah, and the other thing that I'm working on right now is that a lot of the hotels, the managers, they tell me is that I don't have time to look at all these analytics. What I want you to do is I want you to alert me when there's an exception. So there's another capability as well, is that you don't need to create analytics, nice and all stuff, but going back to the manager, they're too busy. So there are capabilities that allow you to basically, when an event, when something happened, if sales below something or something else, send me that information in my email or whatever, alert me to my cell phone. Then now, based on exception, now I'll go and take a look at what's going on. So that's what we're working on as well. It's on alert, on an exception basis. So that way they don't have to go to a computer or device to see what's going on. No, they just go on their normal day, and based on how the setup is, it will alert them that there's something that they need to go look at. So they like that better.
So what that means, if your productivity drops below a certain threshold,
Yeah.
you're going to get a call from your boss at 5:45 before you walk out the door. To go, why didn't you do such?
They find it useful just because, again, they're very busy. They don't want to sit down at a computer and analyze.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that you only see the outliers on one side. You don't see the outliers on the positive side.
No,
That's true.
They can set those thresholds as well, the same alerts. I mean, it really depends on what the company really needs. And I know sales is I don't know how critical sales would be like at a moment's notice to get alerted to that.
Yeah.
But realistically, if you were dealing with manufacturing and you had productivity drop in a factory, that would be something you want to get alerted to that you can use these tools for. You can say, you know, our output just dropped by 80%. What happened? And then you can call somebody, they tell you the machine went down.
So this alerting, so let's talk about that for a second. Is this a scheduled report that you can run, have it be analyzed, and want to go out an email and send this to me?
Yeah, in the Qlik product, they have, you can go ahead and schedule reports. So like, for example, the hotel, they get daily reports. So the daily reports, they get key metrics that already they want to see. And so those reports can be scheduled to go to a certain mailbox with a certain type of data. So you can filter any way you want to filter it and deliver it to the desktop on whatever basis. The alert is a different function that we're working with. Like he says, something that I need to know now. I need to know as soon as that hits, I need to get that information. So that's also available to a third party as well. But the other one's part of Qlik product. You can go ahead and create, like I said, different kind of reports, filter for a different kind of person to deliver at different times, all those variability you can do.
What if I have an enterprise scheduler that I need to schedule it through that? You have an API that I can run the report through?
So you're saying that some other scheduler will be the one scheduling it? I have to check that one because the product, this one will be running off of QlikView server, so it does its own scheduling already. But, you know, we have to investigate that. Any other questions? I hope I didn't go too much, but I didn't know what level you wanted the discussion to be, so. Yeah.
You know, you showed earlier how it was very easy to create things on the visualization side.
Yeah.
And I know there are also some questions over here about on that business model, right? Putting that business model together. I'm still not clear though. Are you saying that building that business model is just as easy as some of your run-of-the-mill reporting tools like Cognos or business objects, or is it actually simpler? Because I know that's the part that can take a lot of time when it comes to this standard reporting and things like that. I was curious.
I think it's, for me, I think it's easy to begin, and I've been doing it for a while. So if you have, you have a table of customers and orders and, products and all, they're all can easily, it just seconds in there. The relationship between them, well, there's sales order and sales ID between them, right? You can just, as long as you link the names, then everything's linked automatically after that. It's not easy.
Because I know you sometimes you have to spend some time, making sure you create joints between certain tables.
That's what I'm saying. The joints here is just, so if you have sales and customer, by name, that's it. So if you have a table of sales, let's say whether it's an extract from somewhere or the database table, sales, customers, well, in the sales, there's a customer ID. You just have to say, this customer ID is the same name. You just have to make sure the same name, that's it.
It's the same name.
Yeah, it automatically links them. It's the same name already. It automatically links them.
So a couple of things there is, one is if you don't have it, you have separate systems, right? You've got a reporting system here and a point of sale system there. The names might not mean the same, but to the business they know they're the same. So in those cases, as you said, as you pull them into QlikView, you have to do those renaming. So there's some work there. There's also possibilities where things are named the same, but the business knows they're not the same.
Yeah.
If you have customer ID here, might mean customer ID something different over there. So then you're going to have to pick one, rename one.
Yeah.
So this way, when you get them all into one spot, there's a differentiation, and then it'll naturally come together. But yeah, there is going to be some hands-on work. You have to know what you're pulling in, to make sure they're tagged appropriately, to make sure things line up. So that pretty much is, and that's any tool. It doesn't matter if it's Cognos, business objects. You're going to have to do some cleanup to get the data into one spot. But the beauty of this is, from what Phung has presented, is that once you have that identified, and you can pull the data in and start doing analytics right away. You don't have to continually. A lot of these tools, you have to create a whole metadata layer of predefining joins, predefining this. On this part, as long as you make sure everything's named and lined up properly.
Yeah, and once you do it once, then next time it's just, as the data change doesn't matter. It's already defined for you.
Or if you add a new source, a new database, a new CRM system, you have to plug that in. You just have to go through that one and make sure everything names the same and lines up with what you're having.
Right, yeah. And you know, it's what when you're reporting to it, once you have that layer set up, it's creating the report pre-work and how to compare to some of the other tools. So I see what you're saying.
So fun. Following up on this line of questions, right? So all these databases that we're looking at are perfect scenarios, right? Where everything is pretty much normalized, you say. So in this case, I would think there's like a data warehouse or some sort of database where the data was already extracted and normalized into it, so you can just pull it from there.
You can do it that way, right?
Have you had any experience with connecting directly to a live production database where it's recording live data?
Yeah. So
May not be normalized.
No. We do. I mean, there are.
Or a replica. Don't hit the live one.
We don't go to the live one. It's more of the other database that we want to pull off of it. So no, we do pull it off, but the step that I mentioned before, we always pull it off into this proprietary layer. It's called QED, so that when it reads it, it's a lot faster. So it's a transformation process from the database into this QED, call it QlikView proprietary database layer. And from there, it then gets consumed by this QlikView application. That's how it's done. Now, again, you can leave the data like it is, and then QlikView will show you. You can see, hey, you know what? There's not a linkage between all of the, let's say in the case of the hotels, I can see right away that this list of room does not match all the transactions that you have in here. So therefore, I need to make sure that I have the right normalization in that case. You can leave it like that, or you can do the normalization up front. You have to account for some discrepancies. In the case like I showed you before, that's discrepancy because not all the rates was in there. But I didn't know that until that's kind of interesting. As I see the data, why is it so low? I go back through the data and I say, there's not all the rates in there. So then it's a aha moment there.
There's always an extraction process that has to happen before always.
Yeah, you want it to be done in terms of best practices. That's what you want to do. Now I do there are applications that are easy, like the customer service one I showed you before. It's just directly from the database. Why? Because it's just an easy application. I mean, it's just a SQL server. I just pull it out, and it's not that much to go into another layer. It all depends on again the application, what you're trying to do, and so on.
How are these transformation capabilities of the tool, right? Because obviously when you're pulling data, you need to do some ETL.
Yeah, so that's really the ETL. Yeah, so I do the ETL extract back to the hotel situation. Their data on SQL Server, the different property management systems. There's something from Oracle, but we pull that information out. So we have the ETL extract out into that layer that we do the manipulation. So then we do the joining, or we change the name, and things that allows us to then have the data ready for us to consume.
That's not part of QlikView.
No, it is part of it.
What is?
Yeah.
You have the ETL package.
Yeah, you do the ETL. So QlikView, you can use it to show the visualization and analytics, but you can also use part of it just to do the ETL. Yeah. And I do that most of the time because it's best practices. Right. You want to pull it out into this layer and do all that stuff that you're talking about, cleaning it or joining it or whatever the case is. And then when you consume it, it's much easier. And why do I want to do that? Because when the user is using it, I don't want them to have all these issues for us. Same. Any other questions? Useful? Yeah, and so I was telling Andrew, I mean, this first time you want more in depth, we can go into big data. Next time we can go into a lot of other things that that you're curious about. By all means, let me know. Well, let him know. Really, he's running it, and I'll be more than happy to share what we're doing.
How expensive is it?
No, so that's a very important question. Yeah.
I'm not shouting, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So if you download it right now, it's free for the desktop. You can't share it, but it's free. The QlikView, QlikSense, it's free. You can use it up to five colleagues, and that's free. If you go into the small business edition, allows you to have up to can manage up to 20 licenses. There are different types of licenses, but the small business servers went to $8,000, and then from there you have to buy a license of $200 a piece.
$3,000 a month or a year?
No, you one time, and then you pay for the maintenance, if you want to upgrade, you want some more dollars.
So 20,000 for the server.
Well, yeah.
Individual
License.
users is
License,
2,200.
yeah, $200 depending on, again, there's different type of user licenses. If you want a named user, the highest is $400. What a named user is that I can access any number of application and documents. If you just have only one, so if you have a salesperson always looking at one document, you don't need to have a named license. You can go to one that lower, which then is only like
The shared license.
Yeah, more efficient. It's only one document. And then you can have sessions whereby you share because you know that not everybody accesses at the same time. So you buy a session license. That way, concurrent license. Only 10 person guys. So it's a different kind of combination. Whatever fits your needs. And then there's an enterprise. There's an enterprise server that goes beyond that into the $40,000, which does many things.
Is there a cloud hosted version?
I'm sorry.
Is there a cloud hosted version?
QlikSense has a cloud hosted, but not QlikView. QlikView, they sell you the server information, and you have to install it and do it yourself.
Third parties will do.
There are third party, exactly. There are third party that are hosting it. That's what I'm sorry.
Or you can run it in your own cloud.
You're gonna get it. That's true. I run it in my own Amazon cloud. So I have it up there in Amazon, and it's easy. Anything else, guys? Well, thank you. Thanks for coming out.